Hey guys, and welcome back to the Fantasy Line. And today we got a lot to talk about. Let's start off with a quick little recap of the Thursday game that just went down. Dolphins at Bills. Bills look great, just rolled over the Dolphins. Tua was trying to kill himself. What do you guys think of that game?
I think there's a couple big storylines in this game. The running backs mainly. I'm just start off with the Bills. James Cook coming out, scoring 3 touchdowns in the first half. Man, this is looking like an Alvin Kamara Christmas game. Obviously, he died down there in the second half just because the Dolphins got steamrolled in this game. And I just think that James Cook. I was high on James Cook coming into the year, and this just kind of confirmed my drafting him in 3 out of my 4 leagues. I really like James Cook. I actually just traded for him in a league I'm in with Alex this week, so that's going to be a huge boost to our team this week. And man, he's just a great running back, and he has really high upside in this offense.
Yeah, I think this is the game of the running backs. Both running backs popped off. Like they were just like the brightest spots of both teams. Basically, they really the only people who produced too on both teams. Like I know Kincaid had like 7 points, but the main fantasy scorers were both the running backs that just put out points.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, watching that first half, I was getting a little worried. I mean, James Cook did get 3 touchdowns in the first half, but if you were just watching and saw the snap share between him and Ray Davis, because it was just like Ray Davis was in there honestly the same amount as James Cook, so that was worrying me a little bit. And then obviously they didn't really need James Cook in the second half, but I like to see James Cook at the goal line work. After that, Davis got down at the one, James Cook got in there, and then obviously we saw Achan. Achan had a great game: 22 rush attempts, 96 yards, 7 targets, 7 receptions, 69 yards, and
It was the
one
same thing for
touchdown.
A-Chain too, where Wilson was in, and then they got down to the one, and then yeah, and then A-Chain came in for the goal line work. So like that's a good thing to see
Yeah.
that they take out
Yeah,
Wilson, who was probably in there like 2 plays before that, and then he got in.
Yeah, so I mean, Achan's looking like a league winner. He's looking like a first round pick next year. You drafted him this year. You're feeling good. What do you guys think about Raheem Mostert when he comes back? Where's he going to place?
Um, I mean, I am expecting Tua to be out multiple weeks, just because his concussion history is, brutal, man. This dude had 3 concussions in 1 year in 2022. We all remember the Bengals game where he got like carted off the field on a stretcher and everything, and had to get sent to the hospital. So, this is a bad look for the Dolphins as a whole, losing Tua. So I can honestly see them putting 2 backs on the field when Mostert comes back, just relying heavily on this dynamic run game, trying to get Tyreek Hill run like little passes above the line of scrimmage. So I can see this offense changing a whole lot with Tua gone. And I can honestly see Mostert getting more opportunities, even with Achane. Like 22 carries is a lot for Achane. I honestly wasn't expecting that, especially with a dynamic back like Achane. I think that with Mostert coming back, he can still see his normal workload, and they'll probably go back to like a 60-40 Achane Mostert split.
Yeah, as an HN owner, I'm not scared of most. Like, I mean, last game they were, everyone was healthy, and most only had 5 carries compared to HN's 10. The only thing I would be concerned about is that HN with 22 carries, that's a lot of carries, especially for his skill set, for his back, for like the size he is. 22 carries is a lot for him. So I feel like I would want Moster back as an HN owner just so he can take some of those carries away because he can still produce. I mean, like he had 23 points last week and he only had 10 carries. So like he can still produce. He doesn't need 22 carries to go off.
Yeah, but just watching the game, obviously you guys saw Tua dive headfirst, and surprisingly, DeMar Hamlin was one who injured him. But yeah, with Thompson or Thomas, whatever his name is, he came in and he looked like trash, just straight up. Like I think it's gonna have a great effect on the Dolphins' offense. I mean, obviously, you still start Tyreek every week, you still start Achane every week, but what are we doing? What are you guys doing with Waddle and Raheem Mostert? Are we starting him or are we still gonna bench him?
That's tough, man. This Tua situation is just brutal because there's so many fantasy relevant players in this offense. As we know, Tyreek, Achane, Mostert last year, Waddle. I think obviously, like you were saying, Tyreek's a lock, Achane's a lock. Mostert, I'm not plugging him in unless I see something significant happen. And when it comes to Waddle, man, that's just like a fringe flex play week-to-week basis. He went from being like a solid wide receiver 2 with high-end upside to just being like that, low-end wide receiver 2, high-end wide receiver 3. Skylar Thompson is not going to be able to get it done in this offense, especially with Tua missing from what I believe to be like almost half the season. Like he could be out the whole season.
Yeah, I agree with Joe. You have to start A-Chain. You have to start Hill. Waddle if you need to. But most of right now I think is irrelevant. I think he was irrelevant last game too. I think after last game it was kind of like this is A-Chan's backfield now. So like that really doesn't play a role. What do you guys think about? Do you guys think they look into picking up another quarterback out in the market right now? Because they have 10 days off till the next game. Do you think they try to get Ryan Tannehill in, or trade for Jameis Winston or another QB somewhere?
I mean, if I'm the Dolphins, I don't know what's possible, but I'm trying to get Joe Flacco over there.
I was just gonna
Pick
say
some
that.
receivers. I mean, Joe Flacco, James Winston. I think Joe Flacco's a little better though, but for those
Trey
deep
Lance
receivers,
over there.
chucking the ball, no, Trey Lance is bad, but yeah, I don't think Tua's gonna be out the whole season because this. I mean, we saw him walk off. I can see like 2 to 4 weeks him being out. I mean, obviously it takes a toll on the whole Dolphins offense.
That's a decent amount. 2 to 4 weeks is a lot.
But yeah, Bills just did what the Bills do. They just didn't have to try the second half. Josh Allen just had a mediocre game. Only 1 passing touchdown. They didn't really need him to run the ball or anything. Kincaid got a couple more catches, nothing crazy. But let's move on to our injury report.
I think that was one good note, is that they look like they're trying to give Kincaid the ball.
Yeah,
there's
I
little
agree.
plays out to him, trying to give him involved in the game. It was early too, like the first couple passing plays they were to Kincaid, so they wanted to get him active, which I thought that was a good sign.
Yeah, I totally agree. I was gonna mention something like that. This game, it wasn't even a game after like the first quarter, man. This game was over. The Dolphins just got steamrolled. Like after that pick 6, and it looked like it was going to be a competitive game at the first, but then Bills ran away with it. So I think that this is an outlier situation for the Bills, and I think that going forward, the Bills are going to be throwing the ball a lot more. And Kincaid, as we saw, he had the second most targets on the team, so I think that he's going to be solid going forward. So.
Yeah, I mean, even with Skylar Thompson, we saw Chosen Anderson get in there, 4 targets and a reception.
Shout out my boy Chosen.
But okay, yeah. Besides that, let's get on the injury report.
All right. So we got a lot to cover on the injury report this week. Starting off with none other than Jordan Love. Love's got an MCL sprain, and he did not practice on Thursday, but he has not been officially ruled out. It was reported that Love is engaged in practice, and he's coaching up quarterback Malik Willis. And as we know, Malik Willis is nothing crazy. He, as a starter in 2022, he went 1-2. Never threw more than 100 yards in a single game, and he had a 3-to-1 interception to touchdown rate. So I'm not looking to start any Packers other than Jacobs. I'm not starting any Packers receivers this week. Malik Willis is just not it when it comes to quarterback. You guys have any thoughts on Jordan Love this week?
He's not playing. I think there's more of a chance probably next week that he could. I think push it out there. I don't know if he'd be 100%, but I don't think there's a way he plays this week.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. All right. And then moving on, another big one. We got CMC. Christian McCaffrey's got Achilles tendonitis. Coach Shanahan said that they have to be very, very careful with this injury. However, he did have a limited practice on Thursday, which is, that's promising. He's out on the field, jogging around, catching routes and all that. So he's logged back-to-back limited practices in hopes of practicing tomorrow. I think that if CMC plays, I still like Mason as a solid start. CMC has been dealing with this calf or this now Achilles tendonitis for like the last 5 weeks, and I don't think they're going to come out and just give CMC the rock 20 times. I think that they're going to ease him in slowly. So I think Jordan Mason is still a solid spot play in this game. And, even if CMC's out, like Jordan Mason, like top 5 running back in the week, easily, in my opinion. You guys have any thoughts on CMC before we move on to the next report?
Yeah, we saw CMC come out in an interview and he said that he's always ready to play. And then Kyle Shanahan said if it was a playoff game, CMC would have played. But the Niners versus the Vikings this week, I think it's better just to hold him off. I mean, it sucks for fantasy purposes, but we get to see more of what Jordan Mason does. I mean, I think the Niners are just going to be beating down the Vikings and just feed Jordan Mason another 25 plus carries this game. Yeah.
Nice. All right.
Yeah, I think there's no point of rushing McCaffrey out there. The first game dominant, and it's like our goal is not the regular season. Our goal is the Super Bowl this year, especially as a Niners fan. Like their goal is to win a Super Bowl. So I don't think there's any push of getting McCaffrey out there earlier just to re-aggravate that injury and maybe make him prolong his injury even longer than what it should be.
Yeah, 100%. Completely agree with that. Moving on, Jake Ferguson with an MCL sprain did not practice on Thursday. He's going to need to at least a limited practice on Friday if he wants a chance to play on Sunday, in my opinion. If you're not practicing on Friday, you're not playing on Sunday. So I expect him to be out for this game. So I think that Brandon Cooks is a viable streaming option for your flex this week. Dak Prescott's going to have to throw the ball to someone other than CeeDee Lamb. And, Brandon Cooks, obviously, we saw that touchdown last week, and we saw him get volume last year as well. Just easy stuff there. I think moving on, we got Keenan Allen. He's got a heel injury. I mean, he's 32 at this point in his career. He hasn't practiced all week, and I feel like this is honestly just what Keenan Allen has turned into. He's turned into this guy who's when he's on the field, he's going to draw every target. He's going to be a target hog. He had a 37.9% target share on the Bears last week, but I expect him to miss this week, as well as Roma Dunze. Roma Dunze is also injured with an MCL sprain, and he's not also practicing on Thursday. So both these receivers are out for the Bears, which just leads to DJ Moore, I think, going to eat in this game. I think DJ Moore is going to be, a solid wide receiver this week, pushing wide receiver one upside. You guys have any thoughts on that situation?
No, I think there's a slight chance Keenan Allen might play. I think it's a small chance that he plays. I think, Roma Dunze again. I don't think, MCL sprain. He's not going to play today or this week.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to play. I think DJ Moore is going to be Caleb Williams' only option. I feel like he's a must start if you got him.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And looking, going through this list, we got a long list. So we got Jameson Williams coming down with an ankle injury on Thursday. He got placed on injury report on Wednesday when he had a limited session, but I expect him to play in this game. I think he's going to be in this game. I don't think this ankle injury should be anything you should be worrying about. If he is limited on Friday, I would lean and be hesitant towards starting him. Maybe look elsewhere because I know most people are probably plugging him in this week in their flex. Going against the Tampa Bay, it's going to be a pretty high-scoring game. But if he's limited on Friday again, I'd look to going elsewhere just to play it on the cautious side because you never know with ankles. Could some come up in the game. And then we got Puka. Just a quick report on Puka. We already know Puka's on IR, but from what I suspected, Puka, it was reports saying that he couldn't miss more than 4 weeks. This was something that I was talking about in the last podcast. I believe that Puka's going to be out for quite some time. I would give it 6 to 8 weeks, in my opinion. This injury is just sucks, man. It's brutal, but I think this just means Kupp's going to be crazy, and Robinson and Tyler Johnson competing for that wide receiver 2 spot. So we'll see how that goes this week, as well as Kyron, getting more work in the passing game as well. So we talked about that a lot last week, but just moving on, we got Nico Collins coming down with an illness. Nothing crazy there. He'll play. He's not going to not play over this being sick. If it was back in like COVID times, maybe he would be out, but with this illness, he'll be fine. Josh Jacobs has a back injury. He was limited in Thursday. This is just in my opinion, this is like a veteran and RB rest kind of situation going on here. I think Jacobs will be playing in this game 100%. I don't think it's anything we should be really worried about. And he should be a plug and play RB2 this week moving forward. T. Higgins, hamstring injury. He says he doesn't understand why fans are saying he's faking his injury. Is a report we got today. And this is just what T. Higgins has become now. He's just this injury filled man. And he missed practice on Thursday. He's going to have to get a limited session in if he wants to play on Sunday. I don't see him playing in this game, which just leads to Jamar Chase eating. So
for him, I don't see. They didn't pay me. I don't think there's any rush for him to be out there.
Are you agreeing with the fans saying that he's faking it?
No, he might actually have a hamstring, but I can be like, oh, it hurts today, a little bit, it still hurts a little bit, I'm not gonna play for risk, hurting myself even more than not have any money guaranteed. So, I mean, like, if I'm T. Higgins, I'm kind of, I'm there, I'm working out, trying to fix my hamstring. But other than that, like, I'm kind of just, I want my money. I want to get paid.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, he was reported saying, I just don't understand why fans think I'm faking this injury. When for me, to get an extension on a contract, the deadline is already over. It's like, okay, bro, like we get what you're doing here. Like you're out here just siphoning some money over here. But yeah, moving on with that, we got David Njoku coming down with a high ankle sprain. This is pretty worrisome in my opinion. Obviously, we know high ankle sprains are pretty severe, depending on the grade. It looks like he has a grade 3 high ankle sprain, which is pretty. It's pretty severe. I think he was going to be out a couple weeks. I give it 2 to 4 weeks in my opinion. He had this same injury in 2022, and he ended up missing 2 games, including a bye week, so 3 weeks total if he doesn't have a bye week in there. So I would give that a relatively same timeline. And then this should just mean Cooper. Amari Cooper should move up a little in the rankings. As a solid flex play, maybe wide receiver 2. And I think this game specifically will be the Jerome Ford show, going up against the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think Jerome Ford is going to eat in this game. You guys have any thoughts about David Njoku with the Browns offense as a whole?
I just have something to say about Amari Cooper. I think it's going to be a big Amari Cooper bounce back game. I mean, if we look at week 1, he had the second most air yards. He just shot a blank. He had 171 air yards. So there's a lot of potential there for Amari Cooper. And I mean, we just saw the Jags defense week 1. I mean, Mostert really didn't do anything, and Achane really didn't do anything. But Tyreek went off. Jalen Waddle went out over for 100. They both had 100-plus yard games. So I think this is a huge Deshaun Watson bounce back spot.
Yeah, very cool. Any thoughts, Isaiah?
No.
Yeah. Yeah, and then we go moving on to Kenneth Walker, who has an oblique injury. He missed practice on Thursday, and he hasn't practiced the entire week. Obviously, when Walker's on the field, he is, he's an elite talent, man. Every play, this man could break a 50-yard touchdown. He's similar to Devon Achane in that way. I feel like every time I watch this man on the field, he is breaking runs. He's getting touchdowns. He just has to stay healthy, man. My hope is that he gets to practice in on Friday. That would be great for your team if you could see him get even a limited practice in on Friday. That's a positive look for Kenneth Walker moving forward. If you are a Walker owner, and honestly, I hope you have Zach Charbonnet, because I think Charbonnet is going to be that guy this week. Even if Walker's out, Charbonnet is going to be getting all the work. He's going to be a solid volume play this week, and he's talented as well. Coming over on the Seahawks team right there, and then we got Jordan Addison coming down with an ankle injury. Nothing crazy here. I don't really think anyone is starting Jordan Addison. In my opinion, I don't think Jordan Addison is going to be someone you should be starting whether he's healthy or not. I don't think Sam Darnold can support 2 wide receivers in this offense, 2 fantasy relevant wide receivers. They got Justin Jefferson there. I think that he's going to be the main target guy. So yeah, I mean, nothing crazy here with Addison. Jay Jettis should be that dude in the offense. And then finally on the injury report this week, we got Malik Neighbors coming down with a knee injury. This was reported today. He was limited today, Thursday's practice, but I see him playing in this game. I don't really see him missing this game, especially against the Washington Commanders. I think you'll see it later, but I think he's going to be a breakout this week. I think he's going to explode. I think this is a smash play for Neighbors, and I can honestly see him contending for that number 1 receiver on the week. All right, and that's the injury report for this week. You guys have any final thoughts on the injuries?
No, I think Neighbors. I mean, like, that's probably like same thing with Josh Jacobs. They're probably both just like they list as injury. They're on the injury limited practice, whatever. But they're both gonna play. I'm excited to see Charbonnet. I think if Walker's out, I know Charbonnet played last season, but it was also like his rookie season, and it was a little different. I want to see Charbonnet if he gets the starting role. I want to see how he performs for that Seahawks offense.
Yeah, that could be some exciting stuff. We could, Charbonnet could really break on in the scene with this if Walker misses this game. So, but yeah, moving on to our week 1 buy lows. We're starting with Alex's week 1 buy low of the week.
My buy low this week is Jamar Chase. The Bengals just always seem to start off slow with Burrow, and it's just how they are. with all this offseason drama going on about Chase's contract, we still draft him in the first round, anywhere between like 4 and 8, just due to his talent alone and what we've seen him do. He was supposedly on a snap count week 1 due to missing training camp, but he still played 43 of 51 snaps, and he was 6 for 6 for 62 yards with, 12.2 fantasy points, nothing crazy. I think he will have a bounce back week against the Chiefs, especially with T. Higgins most likely out. I think this is a great spot to buy Chase if you can. And then just some trade scenarios I have to get Chase. I think if you could trade Stephon Diggs and Jaden Reed, I would do that for Jamar Chase. Travis Etienne and Xavier Worthy. Worthy off that big week, Etienne just a midweek. And then I would even trade Deebo Samuel and Brian Robinson for Jamar Chase. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I like that. I like, me and Alex actually in our league that we share a team together, we actually just made a big trade for Jamar Chase, for James Cook. We sent away Josh Allen, but, this is a huge trade that we made. And, I'm a believer in Jamar Chase. I know that this offense is very, very slow starting, as we've seen in the past, 3-4 years with these with the Joe Burrow-led Bengals. So, yeah, Jamar Chase, he's that top dude. He is the elite talent. He got paid. Wait, did he get paid? I'm drawing a blank.
No, he hasn't got paid yet.
No. He hasn't got paid yet. He will get paid as a top end wide receiver in the league.
There was a rumor that they offered him.
They offered him like 30 million a year.
Yeah, 4-year, 140.
I don't know
who
he thinks he is.
Who's declining 35 million a year?
He thinks he's better than Justin Jefferson, which is crazy.
But yeah, Jamar Chase, man, he's that dude. If I'm sending Diggs and Jaden Reed, I'm doing that all day. If I'm sending, Etienne and Xavier Worthy, smash. Deebo and Brian Robinson, come on, man. It's Jamar Chase. He's a top 5 wide receiver moving forward, in my opinion.
I don't know if I'm doing that for Deebo and Brian Robinson. I think Brian Robinson is going to finish as a top 24 running back. We'll get into that later, too. But I think I have high hopes for Brian Robinson. So, and Deebo's Deebo. Continue. Yeah, I think Jamar Chase is good. I think he just hasn't practiced. That's my only concern. He played he did good last game, with him barely practicing during the off season. I think we'll see how it goes and continue on throughout the season. But he could definitely explode, especially with T. Higgins being out. And he has a big game this week, so it could be a very high scoring game for Jamar Chase.
I think as soon as Jamar Chase and the Bengals agree on a contract, I think it's Jamar Chase is going to have a huge motive to go out there and just put up numbers. So I think that could honestly be a game changer for the Bengals, just getting that contract done. But yeah, moving on to Isaiah's buy low player.
My buy low is Marvin Harrison Jr. I know first game, not good, but he is a rookie. He is literally, that was his first game ever in the NFL. So the rookies tend to start off slow. I guess Neighbors had a good game. I guess almost every basically rookie had a good game. But we've seen people start off slow. Think about Justin Jefferson. He started off slow, and then week 3, I think it was week 3 or week 4, he exploded onto the scene. Also, his draft capital. I think this is such if you want him, now would be the time. He was the 4th overall pick in the NFL draft. You're not drafting a player that low, that high. That high in the draft, not to use him, not to think that he's a difference maker, unless you're somebody like Arthur Smith, which I don't think their head coach is nothing like Arthur Smith whatsoever. Coming out of college, he was arguably the best wide receiver coming into the draft class. Him and Malik Neighbors, you can argue it. I like Marvin Harrison more out of both of them. And we saw that Marvin Harrison Jr. can perform on the biggest stages. We saw it, him versus Ohio State. He didn't get knocked out in the first quarter. Ohio State probably wins a national championship. So we've seen him perform on the biggest stages. So I'm not worried about him. That was the whole thing about he looks slow out there. Again, it's really his first game as an NFL wide receiver. We saw Caleb Williams' first game did not look good whatsoever. You just got to give him time. In his first game, though, he did have 1 reception for 4 yards. and 3 targets and 1 drop. The drop was bad, but again, he's a rookie. He's gonna start off slow, so I'm not too worried about him whatsoever. Murray even came out and said, I think it was today. Murray came out and said, we haven't really played together in games. They didn't play any preseason games together. You practice together, but it's different than being in game. So I feel like once him and Murray get that chemistry, I think that Marvin Harrison's going to explode. And we've seen players just like Marvin Harrison, like DeAndre Hopkins with Kyler Murray, and he exploded. So I think Marvin Harrison right now is a good buy before he pops off and really shows off why he was the 4th overall pick in the NFL draft. For trade scenarios, I just traded for him in the same league as Alex and Joe. I traded Olave and Singletary. I'm an Olave fan, but I think I like taking risk, and I feel like if Marvin Harrison pays off, this would be a huge risk, especially like for my team. Like I think, and it fit my team perfectly. I really like taking this risk on Marvin Harrison Jr. because he has a chance to perform. Another player possibly straight across is Debo. If you took a gamble on Debo and you're like, all right, let me see if I can level up. If you want to take a risk, I think Marvin Harrison Jr. is a good one. If you need a running back, if you have tons of running backs, I think you can trade Walker or James Cook for Marvin Harrison Jr. I think it just depends on the situation. Again, you can do something like me where I did a 2-for-1 for him. I know Brian Thomas Jr. and Zach Moss, they're both kind of bummies, but like that's like some idea where you can do like, you try for Pickens and Brian Robinson Jr. or maybe Pickens and Tony Pollard. It just depends on like, how much of a risk you want to take. So what do you guys think about Marvin Harrison Jr.?
I agree on all your trade scenarios except Debo. I probably wouldn't trade Debo straight up for Marvin Harrison. I mean, especially this week, I wouldn't trade him just because Debo's going to get that rushing work too. But all the other ones I would trade. But then just a note. I mean, Kyler Murray did just a little bad side about Marvin Harrison. Kyler Murray did go out there and say, "It's not my job to get Marvin Harrison Jr. the ball," and I feel like that's big. I mean, it's just media at the end of the day, but it's just something to note. And then what was also said, or I saw his stat, Marvin Harrison Jr. ranked 1,700 out of like 1,700, or it was like 700 out of like 728 for separation yards. So that just means that he doesn't get separation on coverage. So that was just like a bad stat line. I mean, I get he's a rookie week 1, but I mean, if you're getting drafted 4th overall in the draft and you can't create separation and you're ranked like 700 out of 728 people, that's a pretty bad stat.
I think going into the draft, like they knew that he was a bad separator. Like that wasn't his thing. He just has hands. Like he can go up there and snag a ball if he needs to. So like not every wide receiver, needs to be, I don't think, wide open. Like, that's not too much of a concern for me because like look at like DeAndre Hopkins. Like I get like he has sometimes had separation, but he also had hands to catch the ball and he had to go up there and like snag it on someone,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, yeah. I can see what you guys are both saying here. The whole, Kyle was saying it's not my job, it's Drew's job, which Drew's their offensive coordinator. It's just media, like Alex was saying. I think Marvin Harrison's going to be fine. I also agree with Alex with Debo. I don't know if I'm trading Debo straight up for Marv. I want to see. I know who Debo is. Debo is, wide receiver 2-3 years ago, man. This dude was, top elite production, 20 points per game. Obviously, the offense now has Christian McCaffrey. But Christian McCaffrey's hurt, man. He's got this tendonitis. Who knows how long this can linger for? Who knows? He maybe goes back in the game and he tweaks it. Debo's going to be that top 5, top 10 receiver just because he's getting, 8-9 rushes a game as well as like 8-9 targets. So I'm not trading Debo straight up for Marv right now. I like everything else. I don't know about. I mean, I'm a big James Cook guy, as we know. He just had a huge game. If you're deep on running back, though, I'd be willing to do that as well. I think just the offense, the Cardinals as a whole, I think they're gonna, really bounce back this week. One of my buy low pairs I was considering was actually Trey McBride. But I think that I didn't want to put 2 Cardinals on this buy low list. So, I mean, shout out Trey McBride. I think he's a buy low as well. Just because of this Cardinals offense, I think they're going to bounce back and, be that elite offense in the league that's going to surprise a lot of people.
So would you guys rather have Neighbors or Marvin Harrison? rest of the season.
I would say Marvin Harris. I quarterback play. Marvin has the better quarterback and the better offense for sure than Malik Neighbors. I think Malik Neighbors is a great talent. It's just Daniel Jones is sometimes I don't know what I don't even know how to describe him. He's just like a chicken with his head cut off. It's just crazy how he plays sometimes.
I mean, I guess this is going to lead right into my buy low player. We might as well just go straight there. So that is my buy low. My buy low player is the other rookie, drafted number 6 overall by the New York Giants, Malik Neighbors. Obviously, I was talking about him earlier on the injury report, but not worried about his knee. He'll be out there on the field playing. This week he's going against none other than the Washington Commanders, who just proved that they are a bottom 5 defense in the NFL, giving up 24 points to Mike Evans, 22 points to Chris Godwin, 4 touchdown passes to Baker Mayfield. This is going to be a just absolute feast from Malik Neighbors, in my opinion. This man is just elite. He played 100% of the snaps, and he ran 48 routes for this offense last week, which ranked number 4 in the entire league. That is some insane numbers right there. He only saw a 17% target share, where he went 5 for 66 with a couple 25 plus plays. So we saw that explosiveness there from Malik Neighbors. He looked really good in this game, honestly. He looked like that dude. He looked like living up to that number 6 overall pick. It's just the only obviously everyone knows Daniel Jones. He's not an NFL quarterback. This man is just, they paid him so much money for him to just not play good football. And if you're a Giants fan, I'm sorry, man, that's brutal. But yeah, I think this week, especially against Washington, Malik Neighbors is going to explode onto the scene. I think this is going to be a Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase-esque explosion. He's just going to come out and he's just going to ball out. And then I think this is the last time you're going to get to buy Malik Neighbors for this low. I think this is about it. If you want to buy him, you buy him now. And after this, you're not getting him unless you're paying, top dollar right now. So yeah, I can see him, inserting himself as that elite wide receiver in this Giants offense. Obviously Daniel Jones, but I don't care. This dude, talent wins, and this dude's a baller if you watch him on the field. So yeah, when it comes to Marvin Harrison or Malik Neighbors, man, I don't even know. That's tough. Just because this week Malik Neighbors is gonna just, I'm so in belief that Malik Neighbors is gonna just go off that it's gonna be hard for me to decide. Right now, I'm probably just gonna say Marvin Harrison just because of the offense that he's in, but I can easily see Malik Neighbors outscoring Marvin Harrison, not only this week, but for the rest of the season as well.
They both have good matchups this week. Harrison's going against the Chargers, and they're beat up. And then the Commanders are their defense is just terrible in general. So I think it's going to be a good see the rookies perform. Right now would be the time for them to put on a show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think Malik Neighbors is a great buy, especially I would say for this week. I don't know if I'm totally invested just because Daniel Jones' offense. But just want to mention someone, Wan'Dale Robinson. He went out there week 1. He's just seemed like Daniel Jones' safety blanket. 12 targets, 6 receptions, 44 yards. Daniel Jones was peppering with targets, just little crossing routes, and I think that's also just a good waiver wire pickup to mention. But yeah.
Yeah. All right. Those were our.
What are some trade scenarios?
Oh yeah, sorry. Malik Neighbors trade scenarios. If you have Stephon Diggs, I was talking about last week, I'm selling Stephon Diggs high, and I think Malik Neighbors is the perfect target to sell Stephon Diggs because Stephon Diggs is on that crowded offense, and Malik Neighbors is the only dude there. Jaden Reed, if you can capitalize, if someone's doesn't know NFL and they think Jordan Love's still healthy, go and slide Jaden Reed over there for Malik Neighbors. I'd do that 100% of the time. That's going to be a little bit more difficult to get, but if you can do that, that's something I'm looking to do. Devontae Smith, I know this is a hot take, but I like I said, I have firm belief in Malik Neighbors. I think he is just so elite. I think Devontae Smith, I know Devontae Smith is a wide receiver 2 on his offense. Obviously, Devontae Smith has Jalen Hurts at quarterback, and it is an elite offense. But that being said, Malik Neighbors, man, I just believe in him, man. I'm a believer. I've been trying to get him in a couple leagues. And yeah, dude, I know some people in this podcast won't agree with this take, but I'm selling Devontae Smith if I have Malik Neighbors. I'm selling Devontae Smith for Malik Neighbors. And then finally, if you can maybe package like a Jerome Ford and Terry McLaurin, I would love doing that, man. Jerome Ford, I think he's great, man. I think he's going to have a great performance this week. I think he's going to be great until Nick Chubb comes back, whenever that is, maybe like week 8, week 9. But being able to capitalize on that right now and selling that elite production right now for elite production in the future, even right now, like Malik Neighbors, I would do that 100%. And Terry McLaurin, I was kind of into him, but not anymore after seeing Jaden Daniels. He's just a big rushing quarterback. So yeah, you guys have any thoughts on those trade scenarios?
I think Joe has some questionable trades out there. I don't think I'm trading Devontae Smith straight up. Just the Eagles look great on offense.
Way I'm trading
I'm
Devontae Smith for
I'm not
Malik
trading
Neighbors.
Devontae Smith straight up for Malik Neighbors with Daniel Jones at quarterback. And also just one other. I know we're all saying sell Diggs, but I don't know if I'm even going to sell Diggs for Neighbors right there, just because the offense. I mean, I think Neighbors can go out there and put 20 plus this week, but Diggs on a great offense. I know we're saying sell,
Diggs,
but I probably wouldn't sell Diggs for Neighbors straight up.
I would definitely sell Diggs. I'm definitely for selling Diggs. Like what he had, how many yards? He had barely any yards last game.
He had 44, 6 for 44 and 2.
40.
That's not
okay. Say like he doesn't get those touchdowns. He just has 10. I'd rather have Tank Dell on that offense than Stephon Diggs. For me, again, I'm not trading Devontae Smith whatsoever from Malik Neighbors. Everyone got what they wanted with wanting Devontae Smith to be in that slot role, and he was in that slot role in this offense. So I feel like Devontae Smith, I know he didn't have a bad game. He was in debate for my buy low as well. Just get him before people are like, all right, he's consistent. I think Devontae Smith is going to be really good this season if he can stay healthy. I think this offense is really they're going to use all their pieces really well. And I feel like Devontae Smith for Malik Neighbors wouldn't do it, especially just right now with Daniel Jones as his quarterback, as Malik Neighbors' as quarterback.
I think, okay, look, Devontae Smith, he's consistent. He is on a great offense. But if I'm trying to win my league and I'm trying to, like Isaiah said, take a risk, I would sell Devontae Smith for Malik Neighbors just because Malik Neighbors came out, he had 12 fantasy points. Devontae Smith only had 15. Like, come on, guys, that's a 3-point difference. I think Malik Neighbors is just going to get pushed 10 targets a game moving forward and just be that guy. I'd rather sell a wide receiver or 2 on a great offense and to get top 6 NFL draft pick who could turn out to be Justin Jefferson or Jamar Chase easily. So yeah.
Joe sounds like he's a gambling man, even though he's from Idaho, but I don't know about that. That's pretty crazy. And just to go back to something, you mentioned Jerome Ford against Jacksonville. Would you guys start Jerome Ford this week or Amari Cooper this week against Jacksonville? If you have to pick one.
Ford. That's easy. I feel like that's an easy pick in my opinion.
I think Cooper.
You just love Cooper.
You saw what the Jags did to Mostert and Achane.
We're talking about here.
No, I know, but I'm just saying. You guys saw what?
What do you mean? Achane put up 23 fantasy points.
Achane,
no, but receptions. I'm talking about
he had 7 receptions
rushing.
He had 7 receptions.
Go out there and catch 7 balls for 70 yards.
He could.
He just had 6 catches. He's not
going to do that.
Jerome Ford came out. Jerome Ford had 12 carries for 44 yards, a touchdown, and 6 catches for 25 yards. I think Jerome Ford is going to get, 15 carries. He's going to get 7 targets. I think he's going to be a easy RB2, maybe even RB1 this week. Going against Jacksonville, I'm starting Jerome Ford. I think it's going to be a Jerome Ford game. I think this is going to be Jerome Ford show. This is going to be his game, his breakout of the year. He had 18 PPR points last week. You're not telling me that's great production.
He had like a garbage touchdown. So
I know he had a garbage touchdown, but that's just fantasy football.
Only thing is he didn't have 171 air yards and 9 targets. So it sounds like we're about to put a bet on this. What are we going to bet? A jalapeno? I bet each of you a jalapeno. Eat a whole jalapeno next episode. That I think
I'll take Jerome Ford.
I think Amari Cooper in a PPR format is going to outscore Jerome Ford this week.
I don't agree.
So we got a jalapeno, both of you. I'll do 2 if I lose.
I'm down.
You do both of you guys. I don't know. I like Jerome Ford, and I don't really care.
Which is
No.
true. All right, so it sounds like I got to bet with Joe. Next episode, whoever scores less got to eat a jalapeno to
All
start
right,
the
deal,
episode.
man. I'm down.
A
I'm
big
down.
one, a big one, a big
All
one.
right. I'm down.
Okay, all right. A little off topic there, but let's move on to our next segment. Our beware players week 2. I know I just mentioned him, Stephon Diggs. I'm a beware of him. I mean, we basically just talked about him, but he's versus Chicago. He's coming off a 2-touchdown game with 21 fantasy points, and I just think they're going to roll Chicago. So I don't think they're going to revert. I think they're going to revert more to the running game than the passing game. I think Joe Mixon's in for another huge week. They're not going to be forced to pass the ball like they did against the Colts, and there's already like so many mouths to feed. And if we just look at the air yard total for week 1, Nico Collins had 112, Tank Dell at 105, and Stephon Diggs only at 9. So that just showing how they're going to use him in the offense, and it caps his big play upside. With this being said, you still start him in your flex, but just don't have as high expectations as you did last week. What do you guys think on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think that, like I've said before, Stephon Diggs is a sell high, man. I was saying sell Diggs for Neighbors. I would sell Diggs for the aforementioned Devontae Smith. I would sell Stephon Diggs for lots of players. Brandon Ayuk, Debo, all these guys I'm selling Diggs for easily. So yeah, I think we should lower our expectations when it comes to Diggs. I don't think we can see this level of production where he gets 2 touchdowns on only 6 catches. And I think this is going to be a Nico and a Dell, just solid across the board with Mixon, being that RB1. So any thoughts, Isaiah?
Yeah, I think I'm the same. I mean, I thought it was funny how you said you wouldn't trade Stephon Diggs for Malik Neighbors, and you want us to be scared of Stephon Diggs.
Just for this week. I think he's just a hot topic of the episode. We should just have Stephon Diggs as a thumbnail.
I don't know. I mean, I like it. I think Stephon Diggs is he can have a very low floor, but a very high ceiling at the same time. Like there's a big range of where he can be at. And I think it just depends on the week. Like he can probably go out there and put you 6 points in a game, in a week because of the weapons around him. Like I don't even think he's probably the 3rd wide receiver on that team. Would be I think he's behind Tank Dell. So like I'm not too high on him. And I think I think it's a good beware of Stephon Diggs.
Yeah,
I would
but
sell him right now if I had him.
I think if Nico Collins or Tank Dell happen to miss time for any reason, you're plugging Stephon Diggs automatic start every week.
Yeah,
I
definitely.
think that, but that's just if they're sick. I mean, you're still flexing Diggs until he does bad. You're not going to bench him, obviously. But moving on to Isaiah's players.
I was debating between 2. I said Alvin Kamara. I don't know. I'm an Alvin Kamara fan. I just think there's no way he's gonna be able to stay this efficient. He versed Carolina last week, like that, and they got the lead quickly against Carolina. Carolina is the worst team in the NFL. They are so bad to where anybody can basically do whatever they want on them, and it can be a phenomenal game for anybody. Like I can probably go out there and run for 50 yards.
I don't believe
5
that.
carries.
I don't believe that.
Hot take. That's a hot take right there.
Yeah, that's real hot.
See me out there. See
I'm
me out
stopping
there.
you.
That's harder than selling Devontae Smith from Malik Neighbors.
Yeah, you have me at linebacker. You're not getting past the 5. But okay, go
buddy,
on.
I crossed you last time we were playing.
Okay.
There's
Take
so you hush mode on that one. I snapped your ankles. Anyway, I think St. Brown is going to get a ton of volume. I'm not St. Brown. I think Alvin Kamara is going to get a ton of volume. No, he's always on my mind after he blew me last week. But I think Alvin Kamara is going to get a ton of volume. But I don't think he's going to be as efficient as he was this last game. That's the only beware of him is where he's older. His efficiency has slowly declined. I still think that he can be solid, but I think like last week, like his efficiency, I don't think it's too. I don't think it's going to be consistent enough with his efficiency, but I still think he's going to get the volume. It's just what can he do with that volume? What do you guys think about Alvin Kamara?
Yeah, I agree. I think a lot of people are mixed about him. What do you guys think? Do you guys think we buying him or are we trying to sell him?
I'm just going to keep him. I'm not trying to do either. If I
Yeah.
have him on my team, I'm just going to hold him because, he's going to be that PPR guy. He's going to get you those points, but I don't think you can sell him for all that much. And if you're trying to buy him, I don't really think that there's a really good trade because I think the person who you're trying to buy from is going to try to sell him high. So if someone really adamant about getting Alvin Kamara and you have Alvin Kamara, sell him high, man. Like shoot for the stars, man. Go for that, top 10 running back. Yeah, I don't know who you can get, but try to go for him. But yeah, I think I agree with Isaiah with his take. I don't think Alvin Kamara is going to hold this efficiency. And the State's offense is just middle of the pack. So yeah, I 100% agree with you, Isaiah.
Another thing that another person I was thinking, it was Joe Mixon, where it's kind of the same boat. Like, I don't think I've seen Joe Mixon run the ball like that since a very long time. Where that's the thing where I think he's gonna get a ton of volume, but I don't think his efficiency can stay the same. So I think Alvin Kamara and Joe Mixon are about the same for me. Just like kind of beware players and see how it's going on.
Yeah, definitely. Moving over to my player for the week. I think similar to Isaiah's player, this guy is similarly, he's a PPR guy. For some reason this week, he went out and he had 25 carries for 120 yards. And it's Ramondre Stevenson. I'm not fully bought into what I saw. I mean, obviously, the Patriots came out and they beat the Bengals. So that's pretty impressive work right there. But moving forward, the Patriots are, in my opinion, a bottom 5 offense in the league. No relevant receivers of note. They just have Ramondre Stevenson. He's the only fantasy player you're ever going to start on this team. And I just don't think he's going to be able to hold up. He finished as the RB7 overall in week 1. And that's kind of where I'm going from. I think he's going to be an RB2. I mean, going into the season, I was drafting Ramondre Stevenson. I was cool with taking him, as my RB2. But, finishing as an RB7, as an RB1, I don't see that happening. So I would say to lower your expectations for Ramondre. I would not view him as an RB1. I would view him as an RB2, just like the offseason. And I don't see the Pats winning games at all. Maybe this might be one of their only wins in the next 6 weeks. So I think that he's going to see less production. He's not going to get 25 carries a game. He'll probably get more targets, which is solid. But I don't think he's going to finish as that top end receiver. I don't think he's going to score a lot of touchdowns. And I can see him being a solid RB2/RB3. But when it comes to being an RB1, just like week 1, I'm not bought in at all. I would say lower your expectations.
I'm a little on the fence about that. I mean, Ramondre went out there. You look great. You just killed. Who they play? They killed the Bengals.
Bengals.
Yeah, but I honestly think for this week, I think he's a start. I mean, we just saw how Jared Mayo. That's the coach, right? I'm pretty sure that's his name. We saw how Gerard Mayo. We saw what he wanted to do. He wants that bell cow running back, and clearly Ramondre Stevenson's that. I think it's also a huge part of the game script. They were run heavy the whole time. Ramondre Stevenson's also a great receiving back. And I just think this week against the Seahawks, I think the Seahawks went out there and they did not look good against the Broncos. They could not score, could not do anything. So I think the Patriots could win this game. I think the Patriots could go out there and have the lead and Ramondre Stevenson gets another 20 carries. Do I think it's maintainable the whole season? No. They're going to be losing a majority of the games, but I would say just for week 2, I could see him going out there and getting 20 carries and the Patriots beat the Seahawks.
I'm on the same fence as Alex. And I think what you said, he's the only person on that offense that I think they're still going to feed him. That's the only thing is he's the only person on that offense. So I think, and they just paid him. So I do see them using it. I do see him not being, RB7, but I think a lot of people weren't drafting him for him to be their RB1. So, if he finishes as an RB2, a high-end RB2, mid-end RB2, people would be fine with that. I would be fine if he was that for my team. So I think he's on the fence, but I do understand, I would be cautious, especially by how much work he's getting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. So yeah, those are just some of our, beware players for week 1. Just trying to lower your expectations a little bit for these guys, looking ahead for the future and for week 2. Now we're going to be getting into some sneaky starts, starting with Alex's sneaky start for week 2.
Mentioned him last week. A good waiver wire pickup. Kobe Parkinson, the tight end for the Rams. We talked about him last episode, but I think this is a great spot to start him against the Cardinals. With the over-under of this game being at 48.5 points and the Cardinals being favored to win, only by 1, but they're favored. The Rams are going to have to throw the ball to keep up. I mean, we just saw Stafford go out there and throw for 300 yards against the Lions. And especially with Puka being out, he's going to have to step up. Also, he played 88% of the snaps last week, so he will be on the field a lot, giving him more opportunities. I think Puka is the clear receiver on the one on this team. I think he's going to get 20 targets, but those other 20 targets, I think it's going to be split between Kobe Parkinson. Yeah, Cup. Did I say Cooper?
You said
yeah, Cup.
You said
Cup. Oh yeah, Puka. Yeah, just with Puka being out, I think Kobe Parkinson's in for a huge week. I think he could put 5 for 15 a touchdown, 16, 15 fantasy points. Yeah, what do you guys think about that?
Yeah, I like this. This little stream star right here for Colby Parkinson. Looking forward, man, like this could be a weekly discussion we have about this man, which just leads to him being a great pickup. He's going to be, we saw him getting those little, flat routes from Matthew Stafford. I can just see him balling out, like just being that solid tight end for your team. Obviously, we haven't seen a tight end breakout yet. We haven't seen a single good tight end game after tonight. Not a single one. So this could be maybe the first good tight end game of the week. But yeah, I like that take.
I'm only concerned about it is that like Matthew Stafford doesn't really throw his tight ends. Like he's had Tyler Higbee on his team the past couple of years, and like Tyler Higbee's just been a solid guy. Like if you need a streamer play, like it'd be Tyler Higbee. And I feel like Kobe Parkinson's is the same boat where it's just like if you need somebody to play, like play him. But I think it's a risky play, but I think it could pay off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I agree. Moving on to Isaiah's sneaky start week 1, 2.
My sneaky start is Brian Robinson Jr., the running back for the Commanders. I believe he has a solid floor, but a high ceiling this game. I think there's a lot of upside, especially after we saw last week, which there was a concern about Eckler joining the team. Brian Robinson had all the carries. Brian Robinson also had one less reception than Austin Eckler. Brian Robinson also had the goal line work. So I am not too concerned about Eckler whatsoever on this team. I think Brian Robinson is the number 1 back. But this week, Brian Robinson plays the New York Giants, who just let 30-year-old Aaron Jones put up 18.9 fantasy points, 6.7 yards per carry. I think Brian Robinson's definitely at this stage, Brian Robinson's better than Aaron Jones. And I can see Aaron Jones popping off this week. So I think that's my sneaky start of the week.
I like it. I'm just looking at Brian Robinson and I'm low-key surprised by what I'm seeing. Like I did not know Brian Robinson was the RB14 last year in PPR formats. That's something that, surprised me, man. Like he's low-key surprising. He's productive when he gets opportunity. So yeah, I like this take about Brian Robinson. He saw 56% of the opportunity. He produced with it though. So I like this take. I think he'll be good. I think we'll see targets. I really want to see this split between Eckler and Brian Robinson as the season goes on. But yeah, I agree.
I think we're gonna hear a little bit about Brian Robinson every episode, just due to Isaiah's love for him. Earlier in the episode, he did call him a bum. I mean, if you want to go back and watch it for these trade scenarios, he did say he was a bum with Zach Moss. But I think we're going to hear a little bit about Brian Robinson.
That was Brian Thomas.
That was Brian Thomas. Oh, he said receiver? I thought you were talking about Brian Robinson and Zach Moss. Oh, you're okay. Yeah, my bad. Yeah, I think he's a good start.
And that the trade was just a bummy trade. I didn't think they're both.
Yeah,
I'm a Brian Thomas fan. I'm a Brian Thomas truther just like Joe. I
think hell
yeah, he's good.
Brian Thomas, baby.
Yeah, I think Brian Robinson's a good start this week. I don't know about. I think the touchdown's not guaranteed. I think it's gonna be 60-40 with Eckler. Eckler obviously fell off a cliff. Can't run anymore. But yeah, I think Brian Robinson's a good start this week.
Yeah. So now we'll be moving over to my sneaky start of the week, and it's Ladd McConkey, man. It's the rookie for the Los Angeles Chargers. We saw McConkey come out in his NFL debut, posted 7 targets, 5 for 39 and a touchdown, putting up 14 and a half PPR fantasy points. That's great, man. That's good stuff you want to see right there from Ladd McConkey. Palmer is currently hurt with a knee injury, and he was limited on Thursday. And I just think that Ladd proved he's going to be a solid safety blanket for Justin Herbert. And I can see him easily drawing 10-plus targets in this game. And especially against Carolina, dude. We just saw the Saints dominate Carolina. Obviously, I don't think the Chargers are going to put up 47 points. So I think that this game's going to be a little bit closer, but the Chargers are going to run away with this. So in the first half, I can see Ladd McConkey exploding. He had a 28% target share as a rookie week 1. That's an elite number you want to see. And I firmly believe that he can be pushing for a 30% target share this week and weeks going forward. He's that, he kind of reminds you of that like slot, Cooper Kupp kind of guy when he's out on the field. And I think he could be that dude for Justin Herbert this year, just that, PPR machine, really. What do you guys think about Ladd McConkey this week going against Carolina?
I like it. I mean, I think Ladd's basically his only receiver. I mean, we saw Quentin Johnston's still there. That guy has little butter on his hands. So I think, Ladd McConkey, he did pretty decent last game too. So I think Ladd McConkey is a good start versus Carolina defense.
Yeah, I agree. Ladd's a good start. I think it's matchup based too. Carolina sucks. I think it's gonna be a close game because Chargers also suck. But yeah, I think it's a good start.
I got one more note to add for Ladd. Last week we saw him put up 15 fantasy points. He only played 67% of the snaps. And if Josh Palmer is missing this week, which is a solid chance that he misses with this knee injury, Ladd McConkey could see if he sees 90% of the snaps, he's going to see his production double. Ladd McConkey, great start this week.
You guys got anything else to add?
I don't think so. I think we already got our weekly Brian Thomas shout out in the video. So we're looking forward to see you guys on what would it be? Tuesday. We'll be seeing you guys on Tuesday.
Let's have some good offense this week. Hopefully not some
some fantasy points. Let's put some fantasy points up.
Hopefully we see some tight ends do something.
Yeah. Thank you guys for tuning in.
Tight end's going to show out.
Yeah, but all right. Catch you guys on the next episode.
See you guys.
Yeah.